Hi, my name is Beth Bandy. I am principal of Beth Bandy Research and Consulting. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to look up property records in Montreal. If you are familiar with researching property records in the United States, but haven't tried this in other places, you might be surprised to find that the same types of information that we can find on property records here in the US, it may or may not be available in other parts of the world. And the same is true of the way you can search for records. In the United States, for instance, you can go to county assessors' websites and search often by either address or by owner name to find deeds and mortgages and all sorts of other documents that are considered public here. In Canada, sometimes the what kind of information you can find and the types of criteria you can use for searching when they are available, really varies from area to area, from city to city. And so in this case, I'm going to show you Montreal. Montreal, what you see here doesn't apply to Toronto, it doesn't apply to Vancouver, it's just Montreal. And I can cover other places in other videos. If you have questions about real estate searches in Canada, please feel free to contact me. There's a contact form on my website, which is just my name, bethbandy.com, BETHBANDY. And so I'd be happy to hear from you and provide other resources beyond what you see in this video. So today, as I said, we're going to talk about looking up property records in Montreal. Montreal is a city where French is widely spoken, and so in this case, the French is the language you need to use to search. There is an option here in the upper right-hand corner to search in English, but really, once you get into it, the research is going to be in French. So, starting right here, there's a thing called the role foncier, which is basically a property assessment role. And so this page is the gateway into the system that lets you search those records. I am using the Google Chrome browser and I have Google Translate installed as a browser extension. If you don't have that installed, Google it and get it. It's very helpful. Of course, if you speak French, you read French, then that's great. You don't need this, but in cases where you're dealing with materials that may not be in a language you can use, this button on your browser will let you navigate web pages in other languages more easily. It translates pages as a whole as you go along, so you can really look at things quickly and move right along to the material you need. So in this case, I read French, but I'm going to show you how to do this in case you don't. So I'm going to click on the translate button, and it gives me an option to either translate a word that I could just paste into this box, or I'm going to hit translate this page. And if you scroll down after the first paragraph, there is a little button, it has a plus sign on it, and it says view the property assessment role. That is what we want to click. So when you get over here to the next page, again, this is in French and it didn't automatically translate, so I'm going to go remind it to translate by clicking the little button. What you can see is you can search by a few different criteria. One is by address, you can search by lot number, you can search by coordinates, or by some other details here. What you can't search by is owner name. So Montreal's property records are interesting in that they do show the name of the owner on them once you get there, but you can't search by the owner name to find the information you want. You have to search by one of these criteria, and usually it's going to be the address, the street address. So in this case, I've clicked the address button. Whoopsie, I clicked it and then I went away. Okay, so that's there, and then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to prove that I'm not a robot. And click the button. And so now where we are is a page that is asking us for 3 pieces of information. I'm going to hit the translate button, but don't be fooled, because once the page is it's been translated into English, the search is still in French. You still need to provide an address in a French format in order for it to be useful. So the first number where it says civic number, that's your house number, your building number. So in this case, I'm looking for 440. And then in the next box, I'm adding the name of the street. So the name of the street is Eastern Sherbrooke, and so that S at the end is East, um, and it's and I know that's the name of the street, but when you scroll down here, it says there is no result that matches your search. That's probably because I've included the French word for street in my search, and even though that is correct, it sometimes it messes up the search. So I want to, if you have a problem where you know you've got the right result, but you're not coming up with anything, try to get rid of some of the directionals, try to get rid of the name of the street. So in that case, I got rid of the street, it's still not working. So now I'm going to go get rid of est for the directional, the east, and just get me Sherbrooke. Now, Sherbrooke, if you've been to Montreal, is a big street, and there's a lot there. So you have to pick the piece, the part of the city through which Sherbrooke passes, where your property is located. And if you pick the wrong one, you won't find anything. In this case, the one I'm looking for, I've already looked at it on a map. So if you don't know exactly which section of the city, you can just Google map the address and zoom down to the level on Google Maps that shows you neighborhoods, and then use that information to cross-reference it here. So I happen to know that it's this one right here, so I'm going to click on that. And then the last one is enter an apartment number or an office number. And in this case, there isn't one affiliated with this address, so I'm just going to leave that blank. So then I hit the search button. And here we are. It's an extract from the Rule d'Évaluation Foncière, which is the property assessment rule. So I'm clicking the translate button again. And want to show you a couple of things here. You can view sales information. You can click this button and get a printable version of this. And as you go down further in the page, you'll see that we can download property tax history from this site as well. So, and this is really helpful because on the right-hand side of the screen, it kind of gives you little clues about what you're looking at. And if you have any questions, these are all hyperlinks. You can go to more information by clicking on any of those. So what I've pulled up here, this is shows you the top. This is the assessment record for these 3 years, 2017 to 2019. The first section gives you some basic details about this property, and what it is I've given you a museum. This is not somebody's house. So this is a museum, but if it was a house, if it was a condominium, it was an apartment, it would indicate that here. And then there's some file information that may or may not be useful for you. So here's the owner information is in section 2. And here, this is owned by the city of Montreal. But if it was owned by an individual, the individual's name would appear here where City of Montreal is listed. And that person's address would be here. So a lot of times the address you're searching for, if you're looking for a private residence, probably the owners, this might be their home. And so that address that you're searching for would match the address for the owner shown here. But of course, somebody could be a landlord, could own multiple properties. And so this address here may or may not coordinate with what you put into the search originally. And then you can scroll down. It gives you information about how large this is. This is a large mansion. It's a huge museum. So it's, it's 6,000, 7,000 square meters. It's pretty huge. It tells you when the building was built. It tells you how many non-residential premises there are on this property. And then you get down into the assessment role. So it tells you what the current assessment is and then what it was the last time around. And so it gives you, much like you might see here in the United States on our property records, you'll see a value of the land, you'll see what the building on the land is worth, and then you can get more of a total for the entire property. And that is down here a little bit below. So and then it gives you tax distribution, shows you if you're interested in that piece. Let's see. Oh yeah, and so here we go down a little bit farther. You get to, you can download tax information. You can download tax information for, in this case, all the way back to 2009. And so that is all very helpful information that may be of use to you. The last thing I want to show you is back up at the top of the screen. When we first got onto this page, I showed you that there's a button that says View Sales. Well, yes and no. So although you can, on this page, you can see the name of the current owner, and you can see current assessed values and past assessed values. When you click on this button that says View Sales, what it tells you is that you have to be registered as the owner of this building in order to view past transactions. And so in this case, there would be a code that you would have as the owner, and then you would plug that in here to be able to view information. Without that, you can't do this. So that is what you can find. And again, if you have questions about the material that's shown here, you can look at the links on the right-hand side of the page. I'm also happy to answer any questions you might have. Please feel free to contact me through my website, bethbandy.com.